Are we on? Oh, are we?
Hey guys,
Hey.
welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, Friday edition. It's nice to see you guys here, and yeah, that intro was perfect, wasn't it?
This is the
They didn't even
best.
hear Jesse; it was just silence. Uh, or maybe they could hear Jesse. I don't know.
Well, he counted us down, and I was like, wait a minute. It's been so long since I've been on a Don't Worry Wednesday. Like, does that mean we're starting?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like waiting for Ryan to say something, and he wasn't saying anything. So I'm like,
Oh,
all
you
right.
know me. I just think that the silence sometimes is more important than anything. You know, people know how to be welcomed into. They can welcome themselves. Like, yeah, welcome. And make yourself at home. Do whatever you want. You're probably at home, most of you.
Yeah.
So
So make yourself at home. At
why
home.
am I welcoming you into your own house? Like that doesn't even make sense.
Good point.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. This is Don't Worry Wednesday, Friday edition, also known as like Don't Fret Friday or Don't Flip Out Friday, Don't Fall on the Face Friday, and or you can if you want to. I mean, no harm, no foul. But I think that's how that phrase goes. Anyways, yeah, this is the show where we talk about whatever you guys are going throughout the day, week, lifetime experiences, whatever, anything that you're going through that might not feel so great, or you're just concerned about something. If you're worried in any kind of way, we're here to basically be a friend, show some support, show some love, encourage you, and um, help you on your way. Honestly, a lot of times you guys already know what to do, so we don't really need to help too much, but having a friend, having somebody to talk about an issue can sometimes open up our minds and our ears and change our perspectives about what we're going through so we can find our way through it. Life is a series of challenges, and that sometimes we get overwhelmed. We always have to remember that it's actually a very beautiful thing. Um, what we might consider bad, just because we don't like the feeling of it, doesn't make it a bad thing in the end.
Mm.
So yeah. So if any of you have any concerns that you're going through, anything that you're concerned about, whether it be a friend or maybe you have just lost someone recently, or you know maybe you're just not having a perfect relationship with your parents or whatever it is, we're here to do our best and um, maybe help you a little bit in that. So feel free to do that. Lastly, I think I should say that we're not professional psychologists, psychiatrists, or mind readers, or anything along those lines. We're musicians, pretty much. So that's what you get. You get us.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll be okay. Anyhow,
There sometimes there've been people, it's like I always wonder what I would say if I got asked what actually makes you qualified to do a show like that. I've actually had people close to me, and I tell them about the show, they're like, so like you, why are you like qualified to do that? And I'm like, actually, you know what? Honestly, I think my greatest qualification for doing this show is that I've screwed so many things up in my life and I've had a lot of challenges. Like, I think
mm,
really because I've had to fight my way through so many things. Like, no, I kind of understand the landscape for some of
yeah,
that. So
yeah, no, absolutely, that totally makes sense too. Yeah,
now I'm what did they say? I always see the billboards for grads of life. I feel like that. I feel like those guys.
oh yeah, nice. Yeah, you can contact us just like Princess said. Princess is our lovely hostess. Please welcome her kindly as she welcomes everybody else. And yeah, she's awesome. And Jesse is our producer. He's in the background making sure the stream goes live and everything like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, just as Princess said, you can message us here on the chat. You can send us an email at www@bss.studio. You can go to our website and post the message or thought there at bss.studio, or message us on Discord. Even that works. So yeah. Anyhow,
Way.
I flew like a toaster into a car once. Yeah, that's. I mean, actually, I have had the ability to do that. I never actually did that, but that's. I had a thing in my car which converted the car's battery into what would you could plug stuff into it, like ordinary objects, household objects. I could have had a toaster in my car. I never even thought about it. Just brought a loaf of bread, some like Pam spray butter, and some bread, and yeah, I mean, super quick buttered toast.
That's great.
While I was on the road, I mean, you only need one hand for each of those things. Like that could have been a thing. No, I've never seen anything say, "Hey, don't cook while driving." Like, I mean,
I'm gonna put a blender in my car, I think.
yeah. Ooh, nice.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Down the road.
Yeah.
Blending a smoothie or something.
Yeah. Why not? That's awesome.
Oh yeah, thanks, Jesse. BSS does not endorse cooking while driving.
Oh, what? Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. We don't endorse that. I'm being informed.
The legal department at BSS is going crazy right now. They're like, no.
No, don't. They're gonna sue us.
You told them to plug a blender into your car. No, I didn't tell them. It was a joke.
Big Mac. Sir, you did nothing wrong, but can I have a double Big Mac? It's like you get pulled over. You're like, do you know what speed you're going? No. Do you want some macaroni and cheese? I just fresh out of the oven. I just made it. Yeah, here you go. Like, got my oven right here. The cop's looking at you like, oh my gosh, should I just arrest him now? Or no, try the Mac. It's good. Like, homemade recipe.
Can you touch your fingers, go like this for me? And step out, and there's a line I want you to walk along.
Yeah. Can I bring my Mac? Can I bring my mac and cheese? All right. So hey, why don't we get into it? Let's start this show. I see we got Kendra with us here. I'm gonna actually just kind of read off the list here of the backlog we have of people who've posted their concerns before. So let's go through it. Angel, if you're here, by the way, please say I'm here. Just in that exact kind of accent and everything.
Yeah, however you do that in a chat.
Yeah, it's a combination of exclamation points and capital letters and lowercase letter. You guys can figure it out.
I'm here.
I'm here. Okay, Angel, Dead, Nox, Amira, Deku. I think we actually did that one. Nathan, Bakugo Lover, Sunryosuke, Random, Karma, Kendra, Kayla, Rose, Yume, and Lay. We've got quite a few people here today, so that's awesome. And some of these are from today, so it's really great as well. So yeah,
Kendra,
if any of those
Kendra is here for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I think Kendra is going to be the first one on this list, unless, of course, anybody else is here, like Karma, Random, Sunryosuke. I haven't seen Random in a while, but I saw him on the forums just earlier today, so maybe he'll pop up. That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's do Kendra's first.
Let's start with it.
Yeah.
Start it up. You said Random is here for a second on Wednesday or last Friday. Okay. All right. This is from Kendra. It's called "Shot Down Self-Confidence." And it reads as follows. I recently went on Omegle to try and see if I could meet a YouTuber named Pink Stylist. Well, instead of him, I met a grade A jerk that shot down my self-confidence. They called me tranny trash and said that I was born a guy and should just admit it because I have a jawline like a guy's, apparently, and my body build looks like that of a guy's, and that I have no curves, and that really hurt because I have been trying to lose weight. I haven't been very confident in how I look, and I have friends that have helped me to feel good about myself again. But this guy brought me down again. I'm sure this person is going through a bunch of stuff for them to say things like this, and I will pray for them. I really just need help to try and bring that self-confidence back up and figure out a way not to let people bring me down like this again. Any suggestions? Thanks once more, Kendra. Thank you, Kendra. I appreciate you sharing this with us. Of course, yeah, I mean, it's not a fun thing to go through. That's definitely, your self-image, how you see yourself is a big part of how you feel about yourself. And when other people say things like this, yeah, it really hurts.
Hmm.
Because even though it's like, even if you want to say like, um, I guess it hurts because whether you believe you are that or not, um, it makes you feel bad because that's the way he sees you or other people see you. And yeah, that's really rough. Um, so I know that Joe is extremely, extremely attractive, so he can't relate to this topic. Um, but I mean,
What?
let's give him a shot anyways. Even though he's just way too hot yeah, for anything
Stop.
to touch him. So whatever. Um, yeah, no. If you will, Joe, I think that'd be great.
Okay.
Go for it.
I would be happy to. And Kendra, thank you so much for posting. And I'm so sorry that you had to
Yeah.
go through this. This is tough. I mean, being made fun of always hurts to some degree, and especially if it seems to target an area where you tend to have a struggle. It's
Hmm.
it's weird because we can always remember. I remind myself all the time. I spend a lot of time in prayer, and I spend a lot of time, remembering that, you know, every single one of us is unique. Every single one of us is made the way we are. Every single one of us looks how we look. We can't really do a whole lot about it. I mean, we can do things to modify some things without surgery. But I mean, if we wanted to totally change the way we looked, then surgery is required and all that kind of stuff. And that's just not necessary because, I could say the cliche statement, everybody's beautiful just the way they are. But I think literally that's true because God made every single one of us and he loves every single one of us. And I started thinking about that because not necessarily in the way that people look, but like when someone makes me mad, like they'll cut me off in traffic or they'll do something that's, not cool, and I'll see them making a bad choice and hurting somebody in the process. And I'm like, you know what? I started getting mad at this person. And I'm like, what? Like, wait a second. I have to remember God made that person and God loves that person. Now they're making some really bad choices right now, but that doesn't put them outside the sphere of God's love. And so for one, Kendra, you can always rest assured, I'm sure you do, that because of your unique, because you were created by God, you are absolutely 100% infinitely valuable. You have infinite dignity. And however you are, you're valuable. And how you perform in any way or how you look and all that doesn't change your value one bit. Um, I've seen sometimes where, you know, uh, every once in a while, one of my sons gets discouraged because he's when he sees somebody that's better athletically than him, and he'll get kind of bummed about that, or anytime his brother does something better than him, he might get kind of bummed about that. And so one of the things I try to do is to redirect him and make sure that he understands that he's valuable regardless of his performance in any area. And that, I mean, because I think that kind of strikes at the heart of the issue. When we're made fun of and we're kind of degraded like that, we start to feel like less of a person. We start to feel like we're less valuable. We start to feel like um, we're not going to bring as much to the world as we could because we've got this defect. And the truth is, we're not defective. The truth is, we bring ourselves to the table, we have a unique set of gifts. We have a unique, way of bringing ourselves to the world that can impact the world in a special way. And all this other stuff doesn't matter. And when someone like who you dealt with here um, goes that shallow, I mean, first of all, this is a person that doesn't know you. You don't know them. I mean, it's just a random person I see from the chat. Excuse me. That they don't know who you are. They're just blasting out comments, and they probably think it doesn't matter because, hey, I don't know this person. Who cares? I'm just going to say what I want, and who cares? The problem is, it does affect people. And it's weird because even as much as I remind myself of these things, because I've for such a long time, I've had low self-esteem and struggled in that area. And as I start to remember these things and pray and get myself back on track, something hits me that just throws me all back down in the dumps again. It's almost inevitable. As soon as I'm on the rise, as soon as I'm starting to feel like I've got a good handle on this thing, somebody does something, and they may not necessarily mean to, but there'll be an off comment, or they'll get angry about something silly or whatever. And when I experience that, all of a sudden now I'm back down in the dumps again, and I have to kind of build myself up and remember and pray and remind myself, wait a second, whatever this person's behavior is irrelevant. I need to remember that I am a child of God, and I have infinite dignity, and I have something special to bring to the table, and it's unique to me. And there are people in this world that are going to love it. If there's somebody who doesn't like me, well, I guess I'm not here for them right now. Maybe they'll come around, maybe they won't. And in this case, you're dealing with exactly that. I mean, you've got a person who just wanted to troll somebody or something for a while. And like you said, here, I'm sure this person is going through a bunch of stuff for them to say things like this, and I will pray for them. And that is a really, really mature thing to say and do. That's very insightful because, yes, this person, I'm sure, has his own hurts, his own challenges he's dealing with, he or she, I guess. Is it yeah, I guess we don't know. But they're struggling with something, and they're projecting it out into the world. They're projecting their own challenges onto other people. And we all kind of do that. And it's a way, it's a reason for us to guard ourselves, really. Because when we are down in the dumps like that, when we're at that low ebb of our self-confidence and our self-esteem, we can come across like that to others. So it's really important for us to check ourselves and make sure we're being careful what we say, so we're not sending that type of energy into the world, because every single one of us is susceptible to that. And it's like there's a police officer I heard of one time talking about people who go down the path of drug addiction and go into some really serious things and finally wind up just strung out, and maybe they end up hurting or killing somebody in an accident or something, and then all of a sudden they're in prison. And this policeman very wisely said, somebody said to him, it's amazing how people can get to a certain point in their lives. And this police officer said, no, we are all able to get to that point in our lives. Every single one of us. We just start making choices. And then that choice leads to another choice, leads to another choice, maybe puts us into an addiction, maybe puts us into a bad family situation, maybe puts us into a bad situation with other friends. And that can lead us down a path where all of a sudden we are in this whole different world. We didn't expect to be there. and maybe we feel like we can't get out. So that's just an illustration that we definitely need to guard ourselves, guard our hearts and our tongues. Because I think it was scripture that says, out of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when someone says something hurtful like this, in their heart, you can be rest assured that they are hurting inside as well. And so, yes, praying for this person is absolutely the right thing to do. And when you understand that dynamic like you do, it really can help. It can help you feel bigger. It can help you feel like a bigger person. Like, you know what? Yeah, this person's really having some challenges. I'm concerned for them. I really am, because I know they don't mean this stuff. They're just projecting garbage. And I tell you, Kendra, you're valuable, you're beautiful, and I always look forward to seeing you in the chat. I always look forward to seeing you on the streams. I always look forward to your comments and your posts and everything. You bring so much to this show and to our community, and I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm going to end there for now and turn it over to Ryan and let him take it and run with it for a while. But Kendra, I just want to let you know we really appreciate you here. And whatever this guy's going through, it's a struggle for him. And that's the only reason this stuff come out. It's yeah. So anyway, Ryan.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Joe. And I think you're spot on there she did the exact right thing. Instead of revolting or just, you know, saying game over, right? Whatever. She decided to pray for the person. I think that's one of the best things you could do, because it really puts your mind in the right perspective of, hey, like this, what matters most here is not the person's words, but that person is going through something really bad. And I hope that they can accomplish that. And I think that turns the whole situation over on its head and puts you in the spot where you are thinking clearly. And so I'm very impressed, and I'm glad that you took that response to it. That's really great. You're a blessing to the world. Um, you know, it's interesting. We want to look good. We want to. We all wish we were perfectly beautiful, I think.
Like
And
Thor.
like Thor, is he attractive?
Probably. I mean,
All right.
it's got lots of muscles anyway.
Yeah, well, and yeah, that's what makes you attractive is your muscles. Um, that's why, just, when you see a piece of meat, you're like, ooh, I want that inside of
Muscle.
me. Yeah. Um, and then you eat it. So, anyways, so yeah, it's interesting that we humans want to appear attractive, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting that beauty, but at the same time, it's kind of a weird thing because a lot of it is an opinion, anyways.
Mhm.
One thing to keep in mind about all of that, though, is this: it's pretty much almost impossible. I mean, you might find a few people, but it's almost impossible to think of even one person that lived, I don't know, more than 80 years ago. All right. Okay. Well, let's jump to like even like 200 years ago, right? Who's well known for their beauty. And that made a lasting change on the world. Well, the fact that someone's beauty really never changed the world, never changed anybody. In fact, if you look at beauty in the whole grand scheme of things, a lot of time it changes the world for the worse,
Mhm.
because people are like, "Wow, she's beautiful," and then they get seduced or something,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know. And a lot of times that beauty can be leading to more sin than holiness. or more bad than good. But the only person I can actually even think of that is well known for their beauty and that's what they're famous about is like Mona Lisa. And last time I looked at Mona Lisa, I didn't think to myself, wow, that person is beautiful. I looked at that person and said, wow, it's a human being.
Hmm.
Like, I don't really think Mona Lisa is that attractive. You know, most people don't. But she's like one of the only people I can possibly think of that is well known for her beauty. And the only reason is because someone painted her and the painter was famous. Mm, that says a whole lot about what beauty amounts to. Um, so your character in this world, who you are, how you act, what you do, and the good that you bring is definitely a lot more valuable to this world and the other people around you than something like beauty. Now, does that mean that beauty is vain? No, I don't think so. It's not entirely vain, and I think I appreciate people who put work into their physical appearance, who spend time doing that. I find that admirable because that's not something I spend a whole lot of time doing. Um, but you know, people who put forth effort there, that's cool. That's cool. Um, but I think this is a topic that I keep on revisiting over the last week, and that is perfection and imperfection. Um, you see, we naturally yearn to be perfect, and theologically that makes sense. That makes sense to who we are as human beings. You know, human beings want to be perfect. We want to be perfectly beautiful. We want to be perfect in everything that we do. We want to achieve perfection, whether that be perfect in our answer to a question or perfect in um, how we do something like shoot a basketball and it land in a hoop. We want that to be perfect every shot. We, as human beings, naturally desire perfection, and that's not bad. It's a good thing. It's very good that we do that. But the fact of the matter is, the world we live in is not perfect. The fact of the matter is, we weren't created perfect. If we were created perfect, we would be perfect, but we're not. We simply are not. You know what that tells me? It tells me we're not supposed to be perfect. What I mean is, it tells me we're supposed to be good. And to God, that's good enough. I think that a lot of times being imperfect shows us the extent of God's mercy and love.
Hmm.
And it shows us the extent of our own mercy and love. And it's also important to remember that you don't have to be perfect. That's not that's not what you're supposed to be. Just strive to be good, a force for good. Strive to be holy, strive to be a saint, right? That's what life's about. You know, there's a couple of people who have said this. I don't know who to quote. Maybe Joe does. And I don't exactly know how the quote goes, but it's something to the extent of the only real way to make sense of life in the world we live in, you know, given that it's not perfect in any regard, there's pain, there's suffering, there's joy, there's gladness. But yeah, there's all sorts of it's the whole calamity and the whole hurlemage, hullabaloo, and whatever. World, the best way, the only way to make sense of the whole thing is to understand that it is to make people into saints. The world is a saint making machine. And that's the only way to see the world from a proper perspective, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. Like, why is there pain? Why is there suffering? Why is my image not perfect? And I think that because the answer is to teach us and to help us grow, to help us have mercy, to help us love, to help us show kindness, to help us appreciate perfection, to help us um, come to a point where we don't judge others and we just look for the good inside of them. And this person that said all of this to you, I don't think they're at that point yet.
Mm.
And I think that you are a lot closer to that than most people. And I think once you can understand that we weren't made to be perfect, we were just made to be good. Because when God created the world, he said, this is good. And when he created humans, he said, this too is good. And so we are good at birth. We are naturally good. And that's who we are supposed to be. Good. And you are that. And I don't think you have to worry about a whole lot else, right? In life. I mean, that's really the main thing. And I think you've got that down. So while the question is how do you put yourself in a position where you aren't affected by people's words, that they make fun of you, they pick on you about something that maybe you're self-conscious of, or something that makes you look at yourself differently, and now you can't look at yourself the same for a while. That happens to us all.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you get over that? And I think the best way is to put things in perspective and understand that beauty isn't everything. It's just a part, and it doesn't play a whole big part, honestly, in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Beauty is an opinion ultimately. So if this person doesn't like how you look, who cares? That's their opinion. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not a fact. It's simply not a fact. I mean, if you want one fact, God created you, and his opinion kind of becomes fact. Pretty much.
Uh-huh.
What he says is good is good. What he says is bad. And so he's on your side. So obviously that was a very religious approach, but I know that Kendra here is Christian, one who believes in God. So I figured that would be okay. Sorry to anybody out there who's maybe possibly offended by that kind of discussion, but that's just how we decided to approach it, and hope that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna hand it back over to Joe.
Yeah, I did want to talk about one thing, and you said at the very end of your post, you said, I really just need help to try and bring that self-confidence back up, figure out a way to not let people bring me down like this again. And I think what Ryan was saying was super important. Some of the things we can do to try and help ourselves not get brought down by other people, like we can do all that, but even still, like I was saying, we're still going to get hit. It's going to be like off guard, in an off guard moment, and it's just going to strike us, and we might get knocked down again. It's like there are forces of evil that just exactly know where our weak spots are at any given moment, and they just find them poke at them or something, and then all of a sudden we're down in the dumps. But I think I've said stuff like this on other streams. I'm sure I have actually. Has any discipline that you can start will build your confidence. And the longer you do it, the more confidence you will have. And the more you continue in a certain discipline, whether it's exercise or, a lifestyle change, or getting up early in the morning, or not hitting a snooze button, or, just having a specific routine, the more you do those things, and the more you discipline yourself in whatever area, you can pick any of those areas and decide. And if you don't have a habit of doing that yet, I would start with something small, but any discipline you start and then continue, your self-confidence goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up the longer you do it. Mm-hmm. And the big one for me was exercise. I started exercise, and I was pretty overweight for a while. I was like 30 pounds overweight or 40 pounds overweight or something like that. And it didn't bother me. But one day, I mean, I was doing my property inspections, and I was in a house. It was a 2-story house, and I went up a flight of stairs, and I was winded. And I was like, one flight of stairs. And I didn't even run up them. I just walked up them. And I was like winded. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am out of shape. I got to do something about this. And so that started my journey of exercise. And I started fairly consistently doing, some form of exercise. And it wasn't intense at first, and it got more intense later on. And now it's borderline ridiculous. Some people have told me, like, I can't believe you do that much exercising. But it's just kind of gotten to that point, where my stamina is increased, and now I'm just always continually trying to challenge myself. But the thing is the more that I disciplined myself in that area, the more my confidence went up, and I understood. I was like, you know what? When people say stuff to me, whatever, that I understand that I'm a rock solid person because I can trust myself. I've disciplined myself enough to know that I can trust myself to be a solid individual. And not in all areas of my life. I've always got more to work on. But in certain areas, I know I'm rock solid, and I know that I can trust myself to do the right thing in those areas. And people, when they say stuff, I'm like, well, at least I got that going for me. They can say whatever they want. They can whatever. They can like me. They can not like me. Whatever. I don't care. I guess, that's kind of one of the benefits of starting and continuing some kind of discipline in your life. And if you can do that, start something that, I'm sure there's something nagging you in the back of your head that's like, I really should change this thing, because we all have one, at least. If you're like me, you've got about 30,000, and so there's some stuff you want to change. And if you can take just one of them and make a little bit of a habit change, start a new practice and do it for long enough that it becomes a habit, your self-confidence will just skyrocket. You're like, wow, I'm a much more solid person. Oh, Akil says, don't worry, Kendra, Joe is bald. Something's seen as a flaw in some circles, but we know and fell in love with him anyways. Oh, that's super nice. Thanks. Jono, I don't know if I trained that much. I trained so much you went bald. You guys. Oh, you guys are awesome. But I appreciate you. But anyway, Kendra, if you can pick something small to start with, do that. And then just build from there. And as you go, you'll be surprised. Oh, I just learned something. Kendra says, I just want to lose the weight around my stomach. I'm eating smaller portions, and I'm now doing small exercises before I go to work or paint. That's perfect. Start that and keep building. I will tell you this, that there's a lot of dietary information that we've had for a long time in our country that's flat wrong. And there's a book. I'm gonna have to look for a book now. It's by Gary Taubes.
He remembers the name of the author, but not the book. That's incredible.
The book is called. Hold on. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna look it up. Gary Taubes.
That's actually really cool.
What? That I can remember the author?
No, that's actually really cool, because it's like that. I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Oh, Princess just posted the link to Gary Taubes. The Case Against Sugar. I will tell you this: sugar is your enemy. It could go into a whole lot of different stuff, but a lot of times people think, well, I just need to eat low fat because fat makes you store fat, and that's absolutely wrong. Sugar makes you store fat. Sugar causes your blood sugar to increase, which causes your insulin to, more insulin to spike. And insulin is the hormone that causes you to store fat. So we've kind of had it backwards. Why we get fat, that's the book that that was the one I was thinking of. And I remember I've not read it yet, but I've seen some interviews from Gary Taubes, and it's on my list, because I'm like, anytime I hear some new truth, and I'm like, and it messes with something I've heard for a long time, I take notice.
Hmm.
And then I start to figure out, and well, wait a minute, could this actually be true? And then I start to analyze it, and I start to study into it, and I get into the science, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, it actually is true, or it's not, one of the two, one of the two ways.
Or you're like, oh, these guys.
Right. Exactly. But yeah. Okay. And Princess just learned this in biochemistry. Yeah, it's very interesting. But we've been so wrong on nutrition in our country for so long. But yeah, so definitely pay attention to the labels, and definitely pay attention to the sugar. I guarantee in America, we eat so much more sugar than we think we do. And so that's something to watch out for. And that would really, really help. Work at a restaurant that serves fast food and ice cream. Yep. So tempting to have ice cream often. I
Oh
totally,
my gosh.
totally understand.
Kendra, okay. I have something that will hopefully stop you from eating ice cream almost ever again. Take a bowl of ice cream and microwave it. Microwave it
Whoa.
till it's warm or hot, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Listen, do this and try to eat all of it. You will, by the time you get like 4 bites in, you will decide, oh my gosh, I have been putting this into my body. I feel sick already. It is so full of sugar and it's so sweet. You're going to start feeling like upset that you're eating this. You can eat it, you can manage it down. Like I've done this, but now I'm just like, I'm never doing that again. It's way too sweet. It's way too much sugar. It is ridiculous. You can only eat a baby cone portion. Yeah, if you were to microwave it, anybody here try to microwave ice cream to like warm temperature, and you can finally taste everything that's in it. The only reason you eat ice cream is because it's sweet and it's cold, right? But you can't taste everything when it's cold. When you warm it up and you can finally taste everything that's in it, the sugar in it will just like, it's crazy. Trust me.
Well, it's pretty amazing. There's a couple movies that I've seen on Amazon Prime also. One is called That Sugar Film, and another one is called Fed Up. And both of those really kind of helped out with my understanding as far as what kind of foods are good to eat. It's funny because I actually decided just like a week ago, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just try not eating sugar for a while. So now I'm even to the point where I'm making my own salad dressing, because every salad dressing has sugar in it. And so I'm like,
I have some good recommendations on that if you want.
you don't have to tell me that. I'm going very basic, but I'll tell you, I've learned some stuff about sugar. And the crazy thing is, like, the day before I was like, okay, so tomorrow is day 1 of not eating sugar. And that night before, my wife made these coconut cupcakes.
Oh.
They were so good. Like, she is such a good baker. It's incredible. And she made these cupcakes because it was like the last day of school, and she works at the school, and they were having like this dessert day, and she made these for this dessert day. And I took a bite of this, and I just started laughing. And she looked at me funny. She's like she didn't expect my response to be laughter. And I was just like, this is so good. It's ridiculous. Like, like, it's so good. Like, this is the best thing I've eaten. And it was fresh out of the oven and fresh.
Oh yeah.
Everything home baked and homemade from scratch. It was so good. And then I'm like, I gotta not eat any of these because I'm giving up sugar.
Oh,
But anyway,
all
Princess,
right.
thank you. Princess says, are we ready to move on to the next topic soon? Yes, we are. We're going on about sugar. Check those resources out though, because I bet you it'll give you some insight on and be really helpful. A lot of people have been really helped by flipping the traditional knowledge about nutrition on its head and kind of going the opposite way. I think you'll find it could help you. So
Yep. See you later, Kendra. Seems like
best
you gotta
wishes,
go.
Kendra.
Yeah, you got this. You're amazing. We love
Yep.
you. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, let's get on to the next one, eh?
Yes. And
Um,
thanks again for the topic.
yeah, thank you. So I'm gonna go just kind of pass through the list here once again. If anybody's here, just say I'm here in case you've been lurking for a while. I haven't seen you, but Angel, Dead, Knox, Amira. I think we did. No, okay. Nathan, Bakugo Lover, Sunryosuke, Random, Karma, Kayla, Rose, Yume, and Lei. If any of you guys are here, just let us know. Obviously, I know that Lei is here.
You have not been booped, Lay.
Hey, Redfire. Cherry says, I'm here, but Lei can go before me. Okay.
Did Cherry have one?
Yeah, that's Yume.
Oh, you may. Okay. Cool.
Redfire, you said I'm here, which is great. Are one of these comments yours, or are one of the concerns? Are you one of the people I read out? They have like an alternate name. If not, that's totally cool. Redfire, by the way, nice to see you. I miss all of your big hearts that you were sending. Hope you're doing awesome.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Cherry says Lay can go first. Got to charge the phone. So yeah, we should do Lay's first, and then we'll move on. There's one from Starblast. Didn't I see Starblast here?
Is there one from Starblast? Because Starblast is here. I don't see Starblast in here though. Rose says time sensitive though.
Yeah, it's CJ Rose.
Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe it was
Yeah.
time sensitive to just like being done almost immediately.
Maybe. Okay. Did you guys handle? Did you guys handle Star Blasts on Wednesday?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. It's just because I was looking at the website and I just haven't read through yet. So okay, but it's not on the master list.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Totally cool. Yeah, we did that one yesterday.
It's always so hard when I'm not here.
I know.
I feel so lost.
Cool. Well, this one is from Lei. We'll just start here. It's called Sleeping Hardships. It reads as follows. Massive sleep hardship occurred. And by that, I mean the past few days, I literally can't fall asleep until 2 p.m.
PM.
Yeah. I didn't force myself to not fall asleep today, but I can't sleep either. It's not like something bugs me, nothing serious at the very least. And I'm kind of stuck just laying there in bed. His name's Lay. And just being sleepy, but not falling asleep. Help. What do I do? I have some interesting techniques you could try, or at least one. But I'm not always quick to fall asleep myself either. So maybe Joe can, the master of sleep. No, I'm just kidding. Jesse, if he wants to chime in.
Jesse is the master of sleep.
Yeah. If Joe, what would you say about this topic? Seems like nothing hard is going on in particular that's keeping them awake, but they just for some reason can't fall asleep.
Okay.
What should they do?
Yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of times where my mind's just racing and I can't fall asleep. But lately, well, for a while now, and I think simply because I don't sleep very much at all, ever. Like I don't generally have trouble falling asleep now because I'm usually, by the time I get to the point where I'm going to bed, I'm so exhausted. Like I've hardly had any sleep the day before, the whole week, and so now I'm just like I'm basically dragging myself to bed. I had fallen asleep a few times at my computer before I get to my bed, and so then I finally get there, and then I'm just like, Ugh. um. So that's one thing you can do is just make yourself so stinking busy that you're absolutely exhausted by the time you get to bed, and you generally won't have trouble falling asleep at that point. However, there are times when I'm laying there and I'm just like, ding, and my mind's just sorting through a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of times when I'm excited about something or something new is happening and my mind's just buzzing and going crazy, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is good, or this is terrible, or something. And it's just my brain is processing, and I just can't shut it off. Um, there are a few things. One thing, when I was having a lot of trouble, you can find something called binaural beats. Binaural beats. Beats. And there are a whole bunch of different YouTubers that do different binaural beats. Just try and find something that doesn't have subliminal messages. Try and find something that's not programming you a certain way. But there are different sleep patterns. Here's the idea. There you have two different frequencies going in each ear, so you have to wear headphones when you do it, and these two different frequencies make combine to make a wave effect, and that audio effect actually, depending on the brainwave you choose, I think theta is the brainwave for sleep, for like restful sleep. And so you kind of, with this audio, you can kind of set your brain, you kind of like push your brain into that wave a little bit, is the theory. And I've found it to work pretty well. So that's something you can try. And I would say also, when you sleep, is your room completely dark? That's another thing you can try. You try and get as much light out of there as possible. Also, try and avoid any type of screen like computer or phone or anything for at least a half an hour before you try to go to bed. A lot of that stuff, I mean, it's just stimuli going into your eyes, going into your brain that then, just revs things up. So if you can avoid any screen for like a half an hour before you go to bed, that might be helpful too. So there are a couple things there. I'll do a little bit more checking, because there's a whole bunch of different techniques that I have for sleeping that I can look up. But I'm going to turn it over to Ryan because he said he has some techniques, and I would be very interested to know about what Ryan has, because his sleep schedule is crazy. My sleep schedule is like 4 hours a night.
You're so
Ryan,
crazy.
what's that?
Yours is also crazy, but go on.
Ryan's sleep schedule is very it fluctuates a lot. Like he'll sleep like none at all for like 36 hours or something like that, and then he'll sleep for a while, but the time he sleeps changes all the time as well. Like I've noticed there are times when he'll sleep from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, and there are other times he'll go to bed at 11 at night and sleep till the morning, whatever. But like, so his pattern is different. So I'd be very interested to hear what Ryan has to say. So Ryan, go.
Sure. I found out, and this was like not that long ago, maybe like 2 years ago. I was never capable of going sleep just when I wanted to. A lot of times I would lay down and I would just lay there, you know, forever. and then and then I would either fall asleep after like 2 hours of sitting there, or I would fall asleep. Sometimes I'd fall asleep within a half an hour, and that was pretty quick. Um, or sometimes I just wouldn't fall asleep throughout the entire night. This is what I discovered. I had been living my entire life basically dehydrated. Um,
Mm.
Before I go to bed, I drink one just a small glass of water. And when I lay down, I am able to fall asleep generally. Um, one glass of water, just enough to hydrate my body, lay down, and that helps so much. Now, some people say that they wouldn't be able to do that because it would make them get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I would say two things. One, I've never had to do that ever. Two, but that's just me. That's my body. That's the way it works. But two, it's better to have to get up and go to the bed or go to the bathroom in the middle of the night than not being able to fall asleep throughout the entire thing. Right. So if you feel like drinking a glass of water is going to make you have to get up later in the night to go to the bathroom, like it's going to wake you up out of your sleep, that's okay. Like that's better than being dehydrated while trying to sleep. Your body doesn't want to go to bed if it's dehydrated, because it doesn't have all of the essential requirements to put your body through the sleep system, through the sleep cycle the way it wants to. So your body's going to feel awake. Um, Water is helps to calm our minds, um, kind of like food also helps calm our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's kind of like it releases um, specific types of chemicals into our brain and that sort of thing. And so too is water. That really helps to flush out our system, to put the right chemicals in our brain to prepare ourselves to recover from the daily activities. So a glass of water, small glass of water, can really help. That would be my first suggestion, and my other suggestion would be to pray. If you do, maybe you don't believe in God, but let me tell you, when I lay down and I can't fall asleep, I'm just like, oh, I'm just laying here not doing anything. I might as well do something productive, right? So I'm just like, all right, in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. And I didn't do it. Like, I'm not kidding. How many times I've done that? Like, I've done that so many times. It's like, all right, why don't, I'm sitting here, my mind is racing, doing nothing. I can't really even think straight anyways. Like I'm like half sleeping. My mind is just like giving up random ideas. I'm trying to think of something, but I can't really fully think about it. My brain isn't fully functioning because I'm not like really completely awake here. I'm trying to sleep. So why don't I pray? And I just start my prayer and then I instantly fall asleep. Like that happens all the time. So they say that God will give you rest. I don't really think they meant it that way, but I mean, for me, so
Apparently, it's literal
yeah,
sometimes.
apparently it can be literal sometimes. But that's my other suggestion. But here's the final thing I would have to say. If you can't fall asleep, the way I usually fall asleep is through exhaustion. I work myself until I'm at a point where I'm like, I could definitely fall asleep right now. I'm gonna go lay down and sleep. If I'm not exhausted, I don't waste my time with sleep. That's just
Mm.
because I don't have a schedule I'm tight to. Um, But if I'm not exhausted, I know it's not going to be a great point to go to sleep. And so a lot of times what I'll do, if I have something like I've been up for 28 hours or something, and I've got church in like 4 hours, I might lay down. And whether I fall asleep or not, the thing is I get rest. My body still rests while at rest, even if I don't completely shut down and fall asleep. So it's important to get that rest still. If you've got a schedule you need to stick to and you can't just go until you're exhausted and fall asleep, um, then yeah, just go your normal strain, and then lay down. And it's okay if you don't actually fall asleep. Your body's still getting rest, um, and that's the most important part. Um, and yeah, my sleep schedule is crazy. Sometimes I sleep 2 hours. Sometimes I sleep like 10, and it just varies depending on what my body feels like it's a good idea. But
Mhm.
I don't put an alarm on myself unless, I actually have to wake up for a program like this, etc. So, um, yeah, being able to get up when you need to get up, I think that's a really good talent, and a good thing for people to have, so that even if you don't fall asleep at night and you wake up and you feel like you're exhausted, getting out of bed, firing yourself up, and just saying, let's go through the day. You're gonna feel mostly recharged, anyways. So,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, just getting up is important. I've yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna let Joe talk some more now because
Yeah, I see you were seeing that I was looking at my phone. That's because I actually have this sleep time ritual that I found at one point. So the whole idea is like, okay, if you're having trouble falling asleep, you're trying to figure out how to fall asleep. It's like, okay, whatever you do, first things first, have a relaxed attitude and think of things you're grateful for, because that will help you be relaxed, and stay relaxed through the process. Because if you're stressed about it, it's going to keep you awake, right? So then they say, okay, understand that a good night's sleep starts early in the day. So make sure you get some sunlight throughout the day. Stop caffeine intake at 2 p.m. they say. So like in the middle of the afternoon, don't drink any more caffeine because that'll affect you at nighttime. Um, Eat healthy, drink plenty of water, get exercise. Um, all those things will help you, get to that point. So how your day goes is going to help you with sleep.
mm,
Um, then he says, unplug your Wi-Fi and turn off all your electronic devices. That's not necessarily always possible. So, uh, yeah, so you can or cannot do that one. I've never had to do that. Um, then there's like having a nighttime routine can help, where you brush your teeth, you shower, you do whatever, drink a glass of water, whatever it is that kind of sets a mode of relaxation, like progressing toward being relaxed and being ready to sleep. Then totally blacking out your room. If you can't black out your room, I noticed that you got light going on because your brother is, gaming or whatever. One thing you might think about is getting one of those
yeah, those
mask
things.
things that goes over your eyes. If it's really being in trouble, you can use that to try if that would help to black things out. And then make sure everything's comfortable. I noticed a comment that said somebody said make sure you're surrounded by soft things. And yes,
Was that
that
Princess? That sounds
I
like
think I was Princess. Um, but if you can surround yourself with things that make you feel comfortable, that will go a long way. Um, then okay, so then it says, okay, close your eyes, go to sleep. Next thing you can do, if you're having trouble, you could try breathing exercises. So you just breathe through your nose, in for 4 seconds, out for 8 seconds. In for 4 seconds, out for 8 seconds. And focus on your breathing. And you do that for like 10 minutes or something if you're having trouble. And that may do the trick. Just focusing on your breathing and staying focused there, it will kind of cloud out all the rest of it. If you have a lot on your mind, it might help to have pen and paper next to you. You can dump it all, write it all down. So then you're like, okay, I know I have all this. I don't need to obsess about it anymore. So, because I have it all written down, so I know I'll remember it. So I don't need to think about it. And then next thing, if those aren't working, it's not going to do you any good to lay in bed. So the next step is get up and do something for a while. Like Ryan said, Ryan was talking about, if I'm not exhausted, I don't even try, you know? And so what you can do is get up, do some exercising, doesn't have to be like super vigorous, but, just go do something physical and then come back and do the breathing. And you can repeat that, you know, until you fall asleep. And so then the next trick, like Ryan was saying, getting up. There's whole rituals for that. I would say the best thing you can do to get yourself up is drink a whole bunch of water first thing when you wake up. If you're having trouble, if you're sluggish and whatever, because you didn't get much sleep, because you couldn't fall asleep, you're having trouble, but you still had to get up, first thing you do, drink like at least 1 glass of water, maybe 2. I generally drink almost 20 ounces of water first thing I get up when I get up in the morning.
That's amazing.
Yep. Between 16 and 20, somewhere in there.
That's incredible.
But I do that, and then I have a cup of coffee. So then that, it's like, all right, no, I'm good. And then go through the routine. But I've also heard brushing your teeth first thing in the morning, that helps wake you up. I know we're supposed to be talking about sleeping, but
Don't brush your teeth before you go to bed. No, I'm just kidding.
Definitely brush your teeth before you go to bed. So anyway, I'm sorry, but those are things. I mean, I actually learned some of this stuff because for a long time I had trouble sleeping, and then it was weird. Once I decided I wanted to try and live on 4 hours of sleep a night, I never had trouble falling asleep after that.
Yeah, no, that's true too. Like it could be not something that is a bad experience, but your mind is just racing about something, right?
Mhm.
It could be like even like a fun video game you started playing, right? And
Mhm.
your mind
Yeah.
is just going, oh, like what if I did that and then that and then that, but honestly, it's just running loops and you're not really getting anywhere in your thought patterns. Like you're just laying down. I like been there many times. Honestly, if you're in that position, go sit up, stand up, and start thinking about things you're thankful for. Thinking about just naming a list of things you're thankful for.
Mm.
And hopefully that'll clear your mind from whatever's on it that's keeping you up. Even if it's something exciting and joyful. Um, because and just kind of think about something else or do something that makes you think about something else because a lot of times that that can be something that keeps you awake. And changing your thought pattern will settle it and make it at ease so that it's prepared to sleep again.
Mm.
One thing you might try, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but you could try to lay down on the floor for one night. And then the next night you should be able to fall asleep in your bed pretty easy. Try to sleep on the floor one night and then it's like that doesn't work out. Then hey, next night you sleep on your bed, that's gonna happen real quick. But it's just getting into experimentation. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. The best sleep I ever had was it was so weird because a lot of times people are like, I like the soft bed or whatever. It was one of those we were at a Airbnb. We were at this, remember those houses, we get when we would go different places. And there was this bed at this one house that we stayed at, and it was all memory foam. Like it wasn't just a memory foam cover, but the whole mattress was one big thick piece of memory foam, and it was so hard. Like I remember like jumping up to get on it, and I was like, and I'm like, boom! I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah, it's like.
But then I laid in it, and like my body just sunk in exactly the way it was supposed to. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. And so it was like, it like held me in place just right. And I remember that. And I remember waking up the next day and I was so alert because it felt like I had gotten such great sleep.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, Master Lay. I'm one of those weird people who prefer hard beds over soft beds. They genuinely make me fall asleep but easier. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. This bed was the hardest bed I've ever laid on, and I got the best sleep I've ever had.
Nice. All right. So, do we have anybody else we can cover here? think we've only gotten through 2 so far.
We've just been talking.
Yeah, that's all
So
right.
anyway, thank you for
Yeah, thank you
the
so much.
topic. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate, I hope some of that helped,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
yeah, it's good to be able to fall asleep when you need to.
Yeah. My biggest suggestion is literally just drinking a glass of water before you go to sleep,
Hmm.
because for years I struggled with sleep, and as soon as I started doing that, like everything changed. Like if I'm going to sleep some nights and I'm exhausted and I can't fall asleep, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna get a glass of water. And I get out of bed, I go get a glass of water, I lay back down, and then bam, I'm out. Like pretty quick.
Hmm.
So yeah, water, yeah, for me was really the big game changer.
Yeah, that helps me get up in the morning too, to have water before I go to bed.
Oh yeah, because then you have
Yeah,
to go to the bathroom in the
yeah,
morning.
yeah, because then I
Yeah.
have to get rid of it in the morning.
See, there you go. It goes in both directions. It's like a timer. Yeah.
Right.
Natural alarm system. Drink a gallon of water before you go to bed. Wake up when you wake up.
You wake up an hour later.
Yeah.
uh, yes. So I don't know. Is there anybody else here who has a topic?
Yeah. So if anybody is here that has a topic, please.
Cherry, Cherry, are you
Cherry,
back
yeah,
yet?
Cherry, yeah, Cherry. I didn't see them say that they were back yet. I don't know that they went away to charge their phone. Hopefully,
Mhm.
they'll be back. Um, Otherwise, Angel Dead, Knox, Amira, Nathan,
Kayla.
Uncle Go Lover, Sunrioski. Oh, Kayla's here. Random, Karma, Kayla. Kayla.
Kayla's here, and Kayla
Hey,
has a
awesome.
topic.
Okay, well then let's just go right at it. What do you say?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So this actually came through.
Our email.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, cool. Well, perfect timing, Kayla. You're not late. You're perfectly on time for this. Thank you for being here. Hey.
Kayla, it's been so long since I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been a long time, that's for sure. Of course, we saw you. I saw you yesterday or last Wednesday, which is cool. But um, so if you don't mind, we're just gonna jump into this one while you're here, Kayla.
Yeah.
So this is from Kayla. The title is "We Just Want Out," and it reads as follows. It's a bit intense. So here we are. So it's been a while since I've asked a question, but I feel now that things have taken a bit of a turn in my life. Sorry, but I feel now that things have taken a bit of a turn in my life. Like I mentioned briefly beforehand, my dad has become noticeably more angry and prone to frightening outbursts. When these outbursts happen, he often yells, curses, throws stuff, sometimes even at us, punches and bangs on walls, etc. Me and him ended up getting into a huge argument because of a homophobic comment he made. Let's just say it didn't go well. The rage I saw in my dad that night was more intense and violent than anything I'd ever seen from him. He was screaming at me with the door open to get the blank out of my house. He eventually emptied out and just left. We both ended up in the hospital that night, me for suicide attempt and him for suicidal idealization. After my recovery in the hospital, my mom picked me up and harshly advised me to come live with her. She showed me some texts that my dad had sent her regarding me. I won't go into detail about that, but long story short, he said things that no person should ever say to another, regardless of circumstances, especially a father about his child. Ever since then, he gets angry and rampages often, and all we can do is try our best to hide. I say we because my siblings have seen this too. We are all terrified of our own father. What can we do to ease his anger and protect ourselves before he gets dangerously physical. I also wanted to add, I'm really sorry that this got very dark and appears like I may be fishing for attention, but we are all just beyond caring at this point. We just want out. Kayla, Milus, and siblings. Melius? I said Milus, but that's not right. Kayla Melius? I actually don't know how to pronounce your last name. Melius. Probably Melius. I don't know.
That's kind of how I
Yeah.
Melius.
Oh, Melius. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyhow, yeah, thank you so much for sharing this with me, with us. And don't worry about feeling like you're fishing for attention or anything. This is definitely something serious, and we appreciate that you're willing to share it with us. This is very scary to talk about, and yeah, very. That's definitely a very emotional, terrifying thing to go through.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you again for sharing this with us, and hopefully we can shed some light on it and get some advice that will steer you guys in the right direction. Let's pray to God, right? So yeah, Joe, what do you have to say on all of this?
Wow. Well, first off, Kayla, I do have to say it's so wonderful to see you. And when I saw this message come through from you, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I wasn't there on Wednesday, and I was like, was Kayla there? I even talked to Ryan's brother yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, was Kayla on the stream? Because we got this message, and I was like, was she there? And he said, yeah, she was there for just like a couple minutes or something. But yeah, because I haven't talked to you in forever. Last thing I knew, you went to Ohio Con and you were excited and you were dressed like oh, who was that? Deku or something.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
Pretty sure that's
uh,
right.
yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, Kayla. Uh,
I'm sorry I wasn't there, Kayla. Okay, maybe next OhioCon we can totally do that. I hope I can get there. It's hard because it's hard to make it to everything. I happen to be in Florida or something. Maybe no, I wasn't yet, but I was planning to go to Florida soon at that point, I think.
mhm,
So things just didn't line up. But anyways, yeah.
yeah. So Kayla says, I really missed you guys so much. I miss seeing your guys' friendly faces. We have missed you, Kayla,
Mhm.
a lot.
Yeah, it's been
And
a long while.
and I've missed your tremendous voice also. Like for
I
those of you
actually literally yesterday was listening to your version of Idle Bombing. Not even
mm, you know, anyone who just go to bss.studio. Maybe somebody can post some links because there's some stuff that Kayla has shared at bss.studio, some of her covers and some of her songs, and she's got an amazing voice.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, and you can tell she pours so much feeling into what she's singing. Like it's just beautiful. So Kayla, you are much appreciated around here and much loved and much thought about. And I'm really glad to see you. So with all that being said, now we can, look at this particular situation that's going on. And first of all, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. This is, I mean, to me as a father, it kind of makes my blood boil a little bit
Mm.
to hear about a dad um, acting this way. And you know, there are times as a father that I get frustrated with my kids. There are times they're being defiant. There are times that stuff's going on or whatever that and it's frustrating and I can definitely feel my blood pressure going up a little bit, you know. But even still, to get to a point where I would absolutely lose control and do some of the things that you're describing here, I mean that's just it's hard for me to think about, you know, not saying, you know, I'm not a perfect person. Like Ryan was saying earlier, none of us are perfect. And, you know, we all have different challenges. We all have different beasts and demons to deal with in our lives. You know, we all have different habits and propensities and everything. You know, we're all a different makeup of all of those, you know, influences. And and it's hard. I mean, obviously your dad is struggling with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If this is what's going on and what you're describing is the case, and I have no reason not to believe you, so I'll assume that it's all there, and um, he's definitely going through a lot. I know. I think I remember your mom and your dad got divorced. Oh yeah, and you said in the thing that your mom wants you to come live with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's been hard on him, and now he's having to be a full-time parent. Okay, so if if this is the case, though, I mean, if it's an issue of your safety because of some of these outbursts, then it may be best to find a way to get out. And I see you say it this, we just want out. And if it's a scary environment like that, I would agree that that would probably be the best option. At least for a while, until he can kind of process his, you know, thoughts and emotions and get through all the stuff he's going on with. But I don't know how it would be to go live with your mom. I don't, I don't know how that would happen. I don't know how you would do that. But if there's a way you can make that happen, it might be worthwhile. He mostly is verbally violent. Okay. But that even still, that's damaging and sometimes more damaging than physical violence. I find that to be the case. There's a book called The Five Love Languages where it talks about the different ways we express love. There's words of affirmation, there's physical touch, there's um, gifts, there's other ones, what quality time, and then there's another one. One I don't remember.
Sorry, which ones did you go through?
Uh, uh, sorry. Words of affirmation, physical contact. Oh, Kayla says she's read the book.
Oh, okay.
Gifts, quality time, and
Did
one
you
other one.
do did you do actions?
Oh, service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Service. Words of affirmation. So, okay, so my love language is words of affirmation, right? So for me, the verbal, okay, hugs.
Hugs. I don't think that's quite right, but sure.
Hugs. That'd be physical contact.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, okay, so this has been kind of a dynamic in my family here. I'm a words of affirmation person. My wife is a physical contact person, right? So now here's the thing. When when we whatever our love language is, we get those positive feelings from that action that are really strong. We also feel them in the negative very strongly as well. So for me, a hurtful comment hurts much more than if somebody punched me in the face, right? Or hit me with a bat or something. That that might hurt physically in a moment, but what would do more damage to me as a person would be when someone made a really harsh comment or said something really, really mean to me. Like that hurts me more than any other thing that's out there. For my wife, if any type of physical aggression is the thing she takes most offense to. So physical violence and that type of abuse is the thing that she feels the most averse reactions to. So our love language can tell us a lot about what hurts us the most as well. So, okay, Kayla says here, I mean, honestly, I don't want to call it abuse. He's just really manipulative. His literal job is to persuade people to buy his company's product. So he's really good with words. So yeah, I can totally understand that. But you're saying they're the outbursts, the anger, the rampages, the banging on the walls and everything like that. I mean, that's just kind of scary. And it's not a great environment to be in, and it's not really good for him. Okay, Kayla says CPS has been called 3 or 4 times on him, and he's just so good with words that he can brush them off, no issue. We never get to talk. Okay. Yeah, I can understand how that'd be a tough thing to deal with. You're, I mean, your mom might be a really good ally for you right now. I mean, she's got the list of the text messages that she showed you. If the problem is you're trying to get out and you just can't because CPS won't let you move or whatever because they can't find a thing, then those messages might help you. At the very last, I mean, you could try and record one of the outbursts or something, see if there's a way for you to do that. I mean, I don't know. Okay, and then also there's a CPS file going on because of the suicide attempt. Yeah. So wow. I mean, it seems so hard, but let me ask, would it be a better, in your opinion, would it be a better environment to go live with your mom? I mean, you can answer that in the chat if you want, or maybe just give it some thought. But any steps you can make in that direction, that might be helpful. It's tough for me because I'm not in the situation, so I don't really know. But yeah, I mean, anytime something like that's going on, especially for you, your siblings, I mean, it's happening for all of you. Yeah, okay. And Kayla says, I'm really depressed. I'm on 3 different meds. Still feel sad. I hate myself a lot. My mom often just picks fights. Okay. She can be pretty mean with words too, just not so much. Yeah. That's one of also the aftermath of divorce is probably affecting her as well. So she's got challenges to deal with too. Either way, any way you slice it, it's hard. There is light at the end of the tunnel though, because eventually you're going to grow out of being required to live with your parents or one of your parents. And eventually you can move and get into a better environment for yourself, hopefully. Some things you can do though. One thing I would highly recommend is sing. Your voice is so beautiful, and the way you use it is so emotional that all of these feelings that are coming down on you, all of this stuff that's just heart-wrenching and heartbreaking, if you can take it and channel it through your song, through singing, I mean, first of all, it would be a release for you. It would help you to kind of just express a whole bunch of emotion and get it out, get it from inside your body and get it out of your body. Like Okay, Kayla says the studio's been shut down for months. You don't necessarily need a studio to sing. You just need to sing. It doesn't have to be recorded in order for you to experience that. But yeah, if you can do that and pour as much emotion as possible into your singing, that can be so great. And I can't wait till the studio's up and running again, because I can't wait to hear what comes out. But these greatest challenges build some of the most character in us. And I hope, I hope for you, Kayla, that you can get through this, because I just love hearing you, and I can't wait to hear what comes later. So I'm going to turn over to Ryan and let him take a stab at some of this. So Ryan.
Uh, well, yeah, thanks for all of that, Joe. And yeah, it's true. If you can find a way to put your, like, even if you can't record, singing practice, etc., that kind of stuff. I mean, if you can pour your mind into something outside of what's going on and take yourself away from that, that can do a lot of good, because then your mind isn't focusing on the past. It's not focusing on the problems. A lot of times in life, our problems don't generally get fixed by focusing on that problem.
Mm,
Yes, you got to focus it down and say, what am I going to do about this? But a lot of times, the problems solve themselves. And not because you are focusing on the problem, but because time happens, and that's going to happen either way. Things are going to happen either way. Focusing on something that moves you forward is what's going to solve the problem a lot of times, more often than not. When you look at the world and you say, what can move me forward right now? What can I be taking steps in right now? How can I be improving as a person right now? Um, because then you'll have an attitude which is facing forward and moving forward, and your forward decisions will help solve whatever problems or most of the problems that you're going through. A lot of times when you focus on the problems, it overwhelms you, and it puts you in this position where it's hard to think outside the box. And it's hard to think about anything besides the problem. And you don't actually end up solving anything because you're just feeling so down in the dumps about whatever the issue is.
mm-hmm,
Um, so if you can take some time to think about the things you can move forward in now, and invest your energy and thoughts into that, during these times where it's not so easy, um, that will be something that can carry you through and hopefully get you away from being so depressed and suicidal and that sort of thing. Um, I find that a lot of times when I'm focused on a problem, I just feel like crap, you know,
mm-hmm,
and I'm not doing anything good. But when I can focus on something that I can actually move forward with and move forward in that direction with whatever it is, the problems stop mattering so much because they don't make me feel that way because I'm not thinking about them. And the problem doesn't change either way. The problem's just there, right? Um, Not that we should ignore our problems, obviously not. Um, but in a situation like this, it's better to remain hopeful, um, and keep on moving forward in life. Uh, the other thing I was going to say is this: I had a very aggressive father when I was young, and he was an angry alcoholic. He would scream and shout at the drop of a hat. Um, he And he would throw stuff too. He definitely, in fact, when I was 2, he picked me up and threw me um, across the room. Um, and so I've been there. I've been in that position where things are being thrown at me, or just things being thrown in general directions. Um, things flying into the wall and getting stuck into the wall, and you're like, "Wow, that's crazy scary." What do you do? At that time, I could do nothing. I was only like super little. Like, there's nothing I can do,
mm-hmm,
right? And we were just scared of our father. We didn't know how to do anything, and it was basically just like, okay, don't mess with him, don't go near him, don't look at him. If he's in a room, just don't do anything with that room. Like, just avoid that room. In fact, if I have to go through that room to get to the bathroom, I'm just gonna hold it. Because I don't even want to like come near him.
Mm.
Um, because he will probably yell at me about something, and that's gonna be terrifying. Like, I've been in that situation, all right? Um, Here's what happened though. My mom decided, okay, like that's enough of that. And she wanted to protect us and she wanted to have a good life. And so she divorced my dad. And what ended up happening is I think that really helped him move forward in life. Now your mom and him have already divorced, right? And I think a lot of that's causing stress. They don't feel good about who they are as people, and then it reflects about who they actually are as people, and they aren't good. Um,
Mm.
well, not perfectly good. I mean, obviously they still have good traits about them, but um, you know, anyways, as I was saying, we would my mom still wanted us to be a part of our father's life and our father to have a part in our life. So she arranged something where we would go back and forth between locations. Um, for a while, it was after school, we would go hang out at my dad's place, and then she would pick us up on our way home from work. And then, but we mostly just lived with my mom. Other times, it was when he moved to a different place, it was something like we would spend a weekend there every other week. And it was a 3 hour drive where he was living. So um, every every 2 weeks, um, usually what would happen is both parents would drive halfway, an hour and a half, and um, an hour and a half each. And then 3 hours later, I would be at my dad's house for 2 weeks, or for, sorry, 2 days or 3 days or whatever, and then come home. Um, that was really good because instead of it completely excluding one party from the mix, it still allowed both parents to see us, but it gave my dad enough time away from us to almost be strangers. And that's good because your dad, for example, is really good with words, right? And I bet you if he talks to a stranger, he acts completely different than the way he talks to you.
Mm.
And that's most people. That's most people. When you're close with somebody, especially family, you kind of just let loose and you let your worst sides of you show and you just like
Mm.
hurt people all around you, like all the time.
Mm.
Okay. If you can distance yourself from them, um, then they won't feel as if they can just let it all out on you. There will be, they'll be more refined for the moment. Kind of like when you are building up all this emotional tension inside and you're now overflowing and you just collapse at everything, and just like whenever anybody says anything you're just like, oh, I'm frustrated, I can't even hold back, right? But if you pace it out, right, then it becomes manageable, it becomes something you can handle. So if you can pace out your relationships with your dad, maybe that could drive in the right direction. Try to figure out if you can. Now I understand you're not the one in charge here, but if you can somehow make it a relationship where you're at your dad's once every 2 weeks, or like for a couple days every 2 weeks, or something like that, it'll give your dad the time to be by himself, relax a little bit, not have all of the weight of the world on his shoulder, including himself. And so that when he meets up with you guys, he can act more like who he wants to be. A lot of times people experience this thing where they want to be the best person they can be, and they go out into, like, I don't know, like the scene of a party, right? And they're communicating people and they're being a certain person. And that person is who they see as is best in themselves. And they're going out and they're, experiencing that. And then they come home from that party and they're just like, man, I am mentally exhausted dealing with all those people all day long, trying to, keep that smile up, keep up my energy, and I am just emotionally exhausted. I need to
Mhm.
just relax and do nothing, maybe watch a movie or something.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe that's what your dad is going through. Um, if maybe he's over his head and he can't be that best person he wants to be, and he sees that in himself, and he just lets go.
Mhm.
Um, if he can have some time to get that back, I think that would do him some great justice, some great help rather. Um, that would be my best advice there. But yeah, honestly, getting away from that for you guys would be really, really good. Even if you're trying to say, like, you're trying to weigh what's the worser evil. Like, man, this I could live with my mom, and I don't think that's the best, but I could live with my dad, and I don't think that's the best either. Like, sometimes you just have to put up with that in life. Um, and you pick the lesser between two evils. They say something like I can't remember the phrase, but anyways, um, if you could maybe switch back and forth, if that is anything you can do, it'll give both of them the time to um, cool off and be prepared for the next time they see you and give you their best rather than being broken down and just sharing their worst with you all the time because
Mhm.
they can't completely handle themselves. Um, I think that would be good. Um, another possibility, and this might be scary, but I don't know where your sister's going off to. She's going to college. This probably won't work unless she lives in a own like her own apartment or something like that. But um, if your parents would be willing to help pay for some finances and stuff, but go live with your sister. Yeah, you'd have to change schools and all of that. It's not easy, but it is a possible way out. But I don't know. I don't know. That's up to you. I would contemplate that, think about that hard, and see if that's a possibility. If it's a really a good idea, to go live with your sister, if that's actually something that's even possible. I don't know. Um, but yeah. Um, anyways, I'm gonna turn it back over to Joe.
Mm. Yeah, Kayla, all I've got left is just I want to make sure that I tell you that we love you. And then, even when you're in the midst of these situations, it's so hard sometimes to feel like, like you can feel so alone and so broken and so you just exhausted and just hopeless. And those are sometimes the toughest moments to get to. And it really saddens me a lot to hear that, you've attempted suicide and I really care for you. And to think that, you felt compelled to do that, I
Mhm.
just it breaks my heart where I'm like, wow, because you've got so much to bring to
Yeah,
the world.
yeah, you really do.
And, you know, I listen to your stuff and I'm like, man, there have been times when I've listened to your music and your singing and I just feel like, man, I want there to be a day when I can produce some of this stuff. I'd like to work on projects, with Kayla. Um and so right now, it's there there are a lot of things in the way of doing that, but I I always look forward to the day when perhaps it could be a possibility. And I just really I hope that you can pull through. Um, and here's the thing. Here's something you can always remember, and I hope you can bury this down deep in your mind and deep in your heart, and you can pull it out when you need it. And it's that the most beautiful artwork, the stuff that goes down in history, has generally been created by people who had some of the toughest situations to deal with. Some of the most tormented souls have created the most breathtaking art. The stuff that, the stuff that we remember today, I mean, you've got the classic composers, and the classic artists, all these people from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. The stuff that stood the test of time and lasted for ages was created by some of these people were tormented immensely in their living situations. And it encourages me that you're doing art as well as music. Like, so there's another outlet, which is really cool. Another way you can pour your emotion into creating something beautiful. And, I think, I don't know. I forget how old you are. Are you 15?
She was. I don't know how old she is now, though.
15, 16, something.
She might be 16.
I remember you being some of that age. But I'll tell you.
She'll be 16 in October. Okay.
Okay, cool. So you don't have too long. I know it can seem like an eternity, but really, relatively speaking, it's not that long before, you'll be able to have the opportunity to get out and live on your own. You'll have to figure out ways to make money and, all that. But with your ability, I'm sure, there could be some outlets for you to make music, get it out there, get it on a lot of the platforms out there. I mean, you're already kind of doing this. You have the ability to work in a studio. But I mean, not right now because it's shut down, but it's getting put back together, which is good. And you have such wonderful, wonderful material that you're bringing to the world. And the torment that you're facing right now, as painful as it is, and as hard as it is, it can be a tool for you to use to spark some of that, emotional energy that can just pour out onto the world in some beautiful art form, whether it's music or art or something. I mean, that it seems to be that way. The best songs I've ever written were written when I was deeply tormented by something going on in my life. Whether it was a breakup, whether it was losing our house, whether it was just being on the brink of ruin in some area of my life, those moments were the times when I created the best stuff that I can remember. And I find that to be a really common thread. And so if you can keep that in the back of your mind, that when you're going through that really, really hard time, you can think, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the time. This is the time that I can use this to create something super impactful. And then just let yourself do it. Just start and let it flow out. And I'd be very interested in hearing it for sure. And stay on BSS.studio. Keep posting whatever you've got. Your artwork, your music. The people there would love to see it, and we'd love to encourage you. So,
yeah,
Kayla,
we would love
just
to
remember
something.
What's that, Ryan? I'm sorry.
She said that she has a project she wants to share. So yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yes, do it. please share it.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that, you've got us. We love you no matter what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what's going on. We love you, and you're in our thoughts and you're in our prayers. And wow. Took a lot of guts to write this, Kayla. I'm really impressed. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah.
So yes, please go post it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, it's so true. Never lose hope. There's always hope. And hope creates all things. Despair creates nothing. A lot of times it's despair that causes us to destroy our own lives. So don't lose sight of hope. Hope is one of the most important things that we have in this life. And forgiveness, of course. I know that you're already good at forgiving, Kayla, but just remember to do that. It's healthy. One thing I might suggest now, I don't now. Okay, so if I remember correctly, your father and I'm not sure about your mom, probably your mom, are I forget how to say this. Latter-day Saints, Mormon, etc. That. Um, I understand that that's kind of like your religious position in the world. I don't know what church is like there, but I know in the Catholic Church, we have a lot of churches that are just always open. You can go there and just sit in silence. Um, and that can be something that is really helpful. If your dad is kind of freaking out, Church of Jesus Christ and of Latter-day Saints. Okay, yeah. It's a long one. Okay. Anyways, if your dad is in that position, one thing you might be able to do is say, "All right, I'm going to get my coat on. I'm just going to go to church, Dad. I'm just going to go sit down at church." And he'll probably respect that if that's something that you can do. Because then you're at least in a place that's safe. You're in a place where it's quiet, and you can be at peace. Hopefully, maybe you could take your siblings with you, and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna go sit at church, Dad, and then take off. Because what's he gonna do? That's his religion. Is he gonna tell you no? Don't. Yeah, no, he's not. And in fact, it might give him perspective. It might make him think twice about himself and if he's currently acting according to what he believes in, if his actions speak his religion. And that's what I would recommend. But yeah, that's my last recommendation there. Something you can maybe pull out of your hat at some point, if that's something you can actually do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to hear that, Kayla.
Well, I really appreciate you, Kayla.
Yeah, we very much appreciate you, and we're so glad that you're with us, and we love you, and we hope that that you guys can get this all worked out.
Yep. Hopefully you can get into a safe environment where you can feel safe, where you can feel like you can relax a little bit and not just always be on edge. Any type of situation like that. I think Ryan, if Ryan's advice of maybe seeing if you could switch back and forth, I think that sounded like a really great idea, because then it would give you'd kind of have both sides would have some time alone to work out their own issues, because that's what they're dealing with. I mean, the only reason, I mean, they're dealing with their own issues too. And it's
Yeah,
just
if you could
bringing a
get
whole
your
bunch of
brother in on
stress.
it, who's living with your mom, yeah, just kind of both all the kids going back and forth. I think that's yeah.
Yeah, we love you too, Kayla.
Yeah, we love you. And we believe in you. We know that you can do incredible things. So don't ever give up, right?
Yep. And who knows, down the road, there may be lots of projects we work on in the future together.
Yeah, you never know. Or maybe you'll do something even better than work
Yeah.
with us. And you'll be like,
You'd
oh,
be
way
like,
better than those guys.
this is, yeah, BSS,
Yeah,
BS,
BSS.
BSS, stupid. BSS dot stupid.
Yeah, wow. You guys aren't even good for what I'm doing now. So yeah, hey, I mean, yeah.
And BSS is BS, yeah.
Yes.
uh,
Bachelor's in science. That's what it is.
is it?
Yeah, that's what BS stands for.
Yeah,
I have a degree in BS. That's Bachelor's of Science.
yeah. And then MS, which is more of the same.
Yeah.
And then PhD is piled higher and deeper.
You know what MFS is?
No.
You know what MFS is. MFS. Think of a title of a song that we did together.
I remember MFS.
Yeah, MFS.
My
fart
fantastic silliness.
Yeah. That was my fart stinks. Joe named the song. I was like, that's incredible.
I did not name it. Steve did.
Oh, was it Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, Steve did that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's believable.
Steve named it.
My fart stinks.
My fart stinks. Because we couldn't come up with a name for anything. We were just like, oh, what do we name this? Oh, I'll just call it that. But Kayla. That Kayla says, I forgot how much I love seeing you guys. Your guys' laughs and words really warm my heart. Man, I can't tell you how glad I am to see you again, Kayla. It's been a long time.
Yeah, sure has.
You were around a lot for a while, and then I remember the day when you said you weren't going to be around anymore.
And you weren't.
And you weren't. And I was like, oh, I hope she's doing all right, and every once in a while, I'd be like, oh man, I wonder how Kayla's doing. And then now here you are. And I was like, oh yes, Kayla's back. That's good. And so.
Yeah. Oh, and Senna, thanks for chiming in. Yeah. Senna, actually, if you're, in case you're curious, Senna actually did that herself. She found her way into a Catholic church and just kind of sat down in the back, even though she's like terrified of like going places and communicating with people and everything. I was so proud of her, and yeah, it's so awesome. So yeah. So in case you feel like you would be the only person to ever do that, you are not. There's a lot of people who are in situations and they just say, you know what, I'm gonna go to church. I'm just gonna sit in the back and do nothing. Like even if it's just like not even a service going on, I'm just gonna sit here. And it can really clear the mind and give you some peace.
Well, that's what's cool. One thing that's cool about, in a Catholic church is usually there's a lot of artwork around that you can look at. That's one of the really cool things about a Catholic church is just, whether you're religious or not, some of the greatest artwork. And find an old church. A lot of times you'll find some of the greatest artwork in those old church buildings, and you can just sit there and look around and be like, oh my gosh, whether you believe in what the artwork represents or not, you can say, wow, that is a tremendous artist that put that together.
That's true. That's so true. Like you can look at the crosses that are hung, and it's like, wow, look at the detail they put into this. Or you can look at the stained glass windows and there's some symbolism, and you're like, wow, they really thought this out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep. Well, regardless of your orientation there, Kayla, you are loved by your creator. Regardless. So you will never fall outside of his love. So
She
I
says that
understand.
she'll be around every once in a while. She can't be around too much, but well, we appreciate whenever you drop by. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. So thanks, Kayla. Yeah, we are about to the 2-hour point. Cherry, I'm sorry that we didn't get to yours that you posted. You were kind enough to let Master Lego first, which was awesome. But yeah, with some of the topics
We came down.
Yes, we did. So,
but that's all right.
Cherry, if you're here on Wednesday, we'll be able to handle it. However, I do have to announce.
Cherry's awesome. They're almost always here. Thank you, Cherry. Thank you for your constant support. We love you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do have to say on Wednesday again, this Wednesday, I will be absent.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the heat of baseball season for my oldest son. And so sometimes we're gone pretty late on Wednesdays. So, but that will be wrapping up soon. And so I may miss a couple, but we will have great people here. I understand that this past one you had Broman, also Ryan's brother Kyle, who's great. I mean, I didn't listen to this last one, but I remember listening to the first one that he subbed on, and I was like, he ought to be a regular.
Yeah, seriously. It's interesting too because you would suspect that me and my brother would have the same things to say. Growing up together, having a lot of the same worldviews and everything. But no, he's saying stuff. I'm like, wow, I never that's a really interesting way to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And
it doesn't hurt that he's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Like
that's
that. But yeah, I will say, yeah, have fun at Princess, have fun at your son's baseball games. I tell you this, we did have a good time this last one. I'm not into baseball at all, right? Really never have been. I'm not really all that much into sports. My son picks basketball and baseball, and I'm like, whoa.
Oh, yeah. But are you into hot dogs? Because I heard they got hot dogs at baseball.
Not generally at this level. I mean,
just kidding. Yeah. Go on anyway. Sorry.
We did go. We live in Lansing, Michigan. We did go to a Lansing Lugnuts game.
Oh. Okay.
And I spent $16 on water.
Oh my gosh.
It was $4 a bottle, and there were 4 of us.
Wow.
And I was like, what?
It's like Disney World, man.
$4 for a bottle of water. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But anyway, I'm not really a big fan of baseball, and I'm not really a big fan of many sports. But I'm a big fan of watching my son. And he, growing up, since I'm not all that into sports, he, we didn't play much. He never showed much interest. So he's fairly at the beginner level, when it comes to this. But he's got some really good coaches. And at this last game, he had a hit that, not only got him on base, but drove 2 runs in. And he was just on top of the world, man, because he's like, I remember, and it was a pitcher who was pitching really, really fast. And he managed to connect and just boom. And it went, and he got to first base, and 2 other people ran in. And I was like, wow, that was amazing. And I don't even like baseball. But I like watching my son succeed at baseball.
Yeah.
And I like watching him work hard, and all the other kids that are there too. They're awesome. So
that's cool.
Sorry, I totally
that's a great note to end off of. Just appreciating human beings and things that they do, even though we're not into it. Like just being like proud of them. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, you can do that. I remember talking to a friend of mine who was a new father, and he said, he's like, man, I don't know what I would do if my daughter wasn't into what I'm into. And I'm like, I'll tell you what you'll do. You'll get into it.
Yeah.
And you'll get to be a part of it. And you might actually get more into it than they do. I honestly think What's that?
So like Hello Kitty and dolls.
Like Hello Kitty, right?
No,
I,
for sure.
I honestly think now at this point, I am more into martial arts than my two sons are.
Mm.
Like it's weird because I just got into it because they were into it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, I really like this stuff. This is cool. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
Nice.
It's good to love people.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. But it feels good too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening or this Friday. I don't know. It could be morning for some of you. But yeah, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. We appreciate all of you for joining us and for supporting us like you guys do. Special thanks to Princess for being our hostess here.
Mm-hmm.
Really making sure we got everything good to go during this chat. She does a lot kind of behind the scenes, getting the things posted for us on the website so we can just read them off and putting links for us so we can just click on them. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Princess. Thanks to Jesse for keeping a stream going, for setting us up and making us look pretty. And also thanks to Joe for with all the wisdom that he shares, for having a life so that he could share wisdom. Thanks for struggling so much with all your things.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
we
welcome.
appreciate that.
Special thanks to Ryan.
I wasn't here. And then thanks to everybody else who who didn't comment. Thanks to you guys who lurked the entire time, so didn't say a single thing. We
Yes.
appreciate you guys, and we hope you appreciate us. You guys are awesome too, even though we might not know you. We're excited to maybe know you someday.
Mhm.
But yeah, you, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, lifetime experience. All of it. Just enjoy it and wonder what can happen next, and be hopeful and joyful about it, but yeah, we're glad you're alive, so we hope you are too. uh, uh, Anyways, see you guys. We love you. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.